everybody. We're talking laptops for the holiday season.
I'm Mark with the Toshiba Satellite P845t.
I'm Dan. I'm here with Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 Carbon.
I'm Cherie. I'm here with Lenovo's IdeaPad Yoga.
My name is Chow, and I'm here with the 13-inch MacBook Air.
I'm David, and I'm here with the Acer Aspire S7.
I'm Dan, and I have the Samsung Chromebook Series 3.
And I'm Manoush, and we are going to be talking about which laptop is right for you, whether you're buying it for yourself or it's a gift this holiday season. The end of the year is always a great time to buy a laptop. Prices are really low. Who among you thinks that you have the best laptop out there? David, that was the weirdest yes-no sort of arm thing. What's going on over there?
This thing has a lot of things going for it. The S7,
Remind us again who you have.
So this is the Acer Aspire S7. This might be the thinnest Ultrabook on the market right now. It's only 12 millimeters thick. It has a aluminum unibody chassis, which is the same thing that they have on the MacBook Air, with a Gorilla Glass 2 lid, so it's pretty durable. It also is pretty unusual for a 13-inch computer, but it has a full 1080p display, which is also a touchscreen running Windows 8. So it looks gorgeous. The one significant hesitation I have about it is that it's $1,649, which is $100 more expensive than the MacBook Air at its priciest.
Why do you think that Acer thinks they can price it at that? Is it enough, what you've just described?
I mean, those are definitely really important factors. I think having a 1080p screen in a form factor this small is pretty unique. This thing can also lay flat, which obviously is a neat feature.
It's very nice.
Acer touts that as something that's really good for working with multiple people. You can have one person on the keyboard, another person, touching it if you want to collaborate with someone.
Right.
So I think it's up to the consumer to decide if they're willing to spend that much money.
Mark, you're nodding.
Yeah, I think, I'm not trying to diss Acer, but I think the best thing about this laptop is that it doesn't look like an Acer. Because in the past, we sort of dissed them on their design, but the sex appeal counts for a lot.
Yes,
and I
definitely.
also think the touchscreen is not only super bright, it sort of makes me jealous of what I'm holding, so I'm just going to close it a little bit.
Oh.
But it's also super responsive. So I really do think that there is going to be a lot of people out there willing to pay the premium.
So now we seem to always be comparing the Acer to your friend over here. So let's go to Chow and tell us what's going on here with the Air.
So this is a 13.3-inch MacBook Air. It starts at $1199. It also comes in 11 inches, and that starts at $999. So the price point is going to be a lot better than what you have there. It is very, very thin. It's got a unibody chassis. It's got a great battery life. The screen is bright and crisp. I think my favorite part about this computer is that it's so easy to use.
And I also think that it also brings a lot of the goodness of iOS to Mountain Lion, right? Mm-hmm. So you have things like Notes and Task and everything that syncs through the cloud. Mm-hmm. And unlike a lot of the other Ultrabooks that we reviewed, this one actually lasts a lot longer on a charge. We got 8 hours in our tests, which is a lot of endurance. Mm-hmm. Plus, nothing against a lot of the other Ultrabooks on the market, but the touchpad, so many other manufacturers just can't seem to get it right.
That's interesting.
So just the 2-finger scrolling, pinch to zoom, everything else just works the way it should.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so now we talked about the most expensive laptop. Who's got the cheapest?
I think that's going to be me right here. The Chromebook is actually different from all of these other notebooks here in that it's not running a Windows operating system or an Apple operating system. It's actually running Google's own operating system, which they call Chrome OS, which has some pros but also has some cons to it because a lot of the functionality with this notebook really relies on internet connectivity. So because it's Google, it's all about the Google apps. Mm-hmm. So you have Gmail, you have Google Docs, you have Google Drive to store all of your files, all of which are in the cloud. So having internet connectivity is pretty much about 90% of what you're going to be doing with this.
That makes me nervous.
Yeah. Well, the Chrome App Store does have a lot and growing number of offline applications. Mm-hmm. So you can download an application for here to do, let's say, your email offline, or to be able to edit documents offline. So you're not necessarily tied to it, but it is definitely a forward-facing notebook.
Who do you
And
think this is for? Who is this person that's going for this?
I think that this actually has a really wide audience, especially for $250. This is
Wow, yeah,
really
for sure.
inexpensive. And I mean, most people who are checking their emails or checking Facebook, they're doing Twitter, all of these things are online. And having a notebook that relies online, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't do much else. And
Okay.
I actually really, really enjoyed this. But I do recommend, or I do admit that this isn't for everybody.
Now, other Dan, you look to me like you have what's sort of the laptop for the most sort of conservative laptop user. Am I wrong?
Well, this is a business notebook.
Show
so,
us. Who you got here?
This is the X1 Carbon from Lenovo. It's actually a ThinkPad, and it is basically the ideal ultrabook for a business user. It's unlike the other Windows machines here, it's still running Windows 7. There will probably be a Windows 8 upgrade, and you can also obviously upgrade to Windows 8 on
You can,
your own
on
time.
this. Mhm.
Yes. One of the things that we particularly like about Lenovo are their keyboards, and so
May I?
yes, go ahead. It's very responsive, and for an ultrabook that's kind of hard to find, it's got kind of a good spring
Springy,
back.
yeah.
And as Mark was saying, a lot of ultrabooks don't have very good click pads, touch pads, but this actually does.
Okay.
So it functions very well, and also you have the little nub stick up here. So a lot of
Right.
Lenovo fans, kind of want that.
Price point?
It's $13.50 right now, but when you think about what you're getting, what Lenovo does is and it's very light. You can
It
feel
is very light. Wow.
Lenovo
Nice.
also does a lot for the business users in terms of their installed app suite, so you're going to get kind of a lot of business-centric programs out of it. So it's for the price point, it's pretty decent.
Okay. So what's interesting is we just by coincidentally we happen to have no touch screen over here and all the touch screens over here. And Cherie was saying that she has very oily hands. So that could be a good or a bad thing. Show us what you've got over here.
Well, I've got the Lenovo IdeaPad Yoga, which is the first multi-mode laptop, which means it does this.
Ooh.
Nice.
So, bam to your X1 Carbon.
Yeah. Look at that.
So,
Other than looking cool, though, tell me when you would use this.
well, this makes it a 13-inch tablet. They also do tint, which Lenovo is saying would be good for using in the kitchen. So if you're scrolling through your recipes, so like I'm going to
okay.
scroll through these pictures
Yep,
right now.
I can see that.
And they have the stand. So like if you're on the airplane, you could, instead of having to hold your laptop, you can put down the tray and just hold it like that, which is really cool. But what I really, really like about this is that it's covered in soft touch finish, so it's really nice to touch. Yes.
If you like texture, this one is for you. Okay.
And of course, it's Windows 8 and it is touchscreen. I totally customized my Windows 8 because I actually am a fan of the interface. Like, I love Windows Phone, so I have everything synced up on this laptop to that phone.
And price point on this one?
It starts at $9.99,
Okay.
which is not too bad.
Yep. Okay. So last one with the touch. Mark, tell us who's here.
Well, I think the bottom line with Windows 8 is that it's just not great without touch. I mean, there's going to be a lot of notebooks on the market that you have to use the touchpad, but if you really want to get the most out of the experience, you want something with a touchscreen because that's really what the live tile interface is all about.
And this is the Toshiba that we've got here,
Yeah,
right?
so this is the Toshiba P845t, and this is going to go for $799. So it looks like a traditional notebook from the sides. You get everything. This is not an Ultrabook. It's a little bit on the heavy side at 4 pounds, but you do get a lot of features that a lot of people want, like a built-in DVD drive. It is an aluminum design, and you get a lot of like full-featured functionality because you have a Core i5 processor, 6 gigs of RAM, a huge 750 gig hard drive. The screen is not as bright or as sharp as some of the others that we have here, but it is pretty responsive. And you can do really cool things with the Windows 8 interface. So I think if people are looking to upgrade to Windows 8 or try it out for the first time, I think you should spend just a little bit more and get something that you can use like now and in the future as more apps come to the Windows Store.
Right. Very interesting. Okay, so last question. I'm going to go around and ask you each, which one of these, if you had to buy one for yourself, would you buy? David, you're up first.
Honestly, I have, in my time here, I've really been converted by the ThinkPad. I initially was not a huge fan of the design, but lately, like, the keyboard is for me one of the most important things. If a keyboard is too clicky. If the mouse pad, when I'm clicking it, makes a really loud noise.
Yeah.
If it's just uncomfortable to use, it's not something I'm going to want. And Lenovo is just renowned for having really comfortable, solid laptops. And the X1 Carbon is also just a very attractive laptop. So I think if I had to get one, that would be the one for me.
Okay, so vote for Lenovo ThinkPad. Okay. When you're not yet. Okay, Cherie, bring it.
I'm going with my yoga.
You're sticking with
I'm
it.
sticking with my yoga.
Okay.
I like having a tablet. I like Windows 8. And it's just a really good looking machine with a comfortable keyboard. And it charges really fast. It only takes an hour to get a full charge.
Wow. Okay. All right. Mark?
Well, I'm actually torn between the Air and the S7 because I love the Air just because of how easy it is to use and how much battery life it gets. But I'm sort of sick of walking into coffee shops and seeing all the Apple logos. So part of me just wants that as like a status symbol of something that's Air-like but different. So I'm a little torn.
That's an interesting question about the cool factor. That is Apple losing its cool factor, but we'll leave that discussion for another time. Okay, Dan?
I actually like the S7 that David has.
Okay.
I think it's gorgeous. And I do like the idea of having a touchscreen. But at the same time, I also do a lot of work, so I like the X1 Carbon because of its portability and its keyboard. So I'm basically torn between those two. I think I'm leaning more towards the Acer, though.
Really interesting. Okay, Chow?
I have to go with my Air.
Like true, said like a true Apple person. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, like Mark said, it's really portable. It gets 8 hours of battery life, and I'm kind of a klutz, and I love the fact that the charging port is magnetic. So as computers get lighter and lighter, I feel like if I tripped over a cord, they're just gonna fly off the table. And I think this is one of the unsung heroes of this computer is the MagSafe.
I think I'm also going to have to go with the Air. I'm a Mac person, so that should be no surprise to anybody else here. But I will say that Acer is an extremely compelling notebook.
Okay, so it looks like everyone did. We have a lot of love for a lot of different products, not so much for our friend here.
It's good on a budget.
Right. Okay. So that's the budget option, the Toshiba. Okay. But it looks like there's something for everyone, and really what consumers have to do is look, is it for the family? Is it for a student? Is it for the businessman in your life? Or is it just for you? That is the question. You can always go online to find a lot more about all of the laptops that we talked about here at laptopmag.com. Thank you all so much for sharing all this great information.
Thank you.
With the gang of laptopmag.com, I'm Manoush Zomorodi, and happy holidays.